All right, so this video, I wanted to talk about how a lot of people in this phase of life, this phase being the phase that I'm in, similar phase, it might be like 20s to 30s or even into your 40s where responsibilities pile up. You're probably a leader in your workplace, you might own a business, you might have a family, uh, you might be in a relationship where you're having to step up and you are taking on a lot of responsibilities. And I think that ends up being quite consuming. It's time consuming and energetically consuming as well. And so I'm just wanting to talk into how sometimes we can. It's easy to not prioritize health, and it's easy to not carve out time to go to the gym and to eat properly because it's easier to reach for convenience food. It's easier just to skip the gym because you feel like these other responsibilities are more important. And so I want to talk into how the other way round worked for me. It was when because I've done both, but when I started prioritizing my health and I fixed some gut issues that I had, there was this crazy cascade effect where everything improved across the board, and it actually expanded my capacity for all those other things. And it seems like a pretty cliche thing to talk about, but I've actually I just have to share it because it's been my experience. And so I want to give an example of what the last few years has looks like for me, to be at this point with my mind and my body and my health, and I'm actually quite happy with where I'm at. And the difference now, like I've sort of been in similar stages in the past where I've been content and I've been happy with how things are, but it's usually at the end of like a 10-week sprint or a 12-week or a 16-week sprint or challenge where I'll go really hard. I might go into a calorie deficit. I'll be running a few times a week, maybe some swimming in there, smashing the sauna, in the gym, just pumping out bulk volume. And I always felt like at the end of that, when I would say go on a holiday or be ready for footy in preseason, I almost felt a bit burnt out and I always had niggles, and it almost felt like, oh, what a relief I'm at the end of this thing, as opposed to now I'm at that starting point or I'm at that end point, but it feels like I'm at the start. It feels like I'm fresh and ready to take on the next phase, whatever that looks like. And not only that, um, because I prioritize these things over the past few years and I fix my gut health and I put an emphasis on getting good quality sleep, although it doesn't always happen. That's just, they're things that we start to consider. As soon as I wake up, I will start thinking about my sleep later that night. And so that's just to say how much I really think about it and how much I think it has an effect on everything else that we do. Because once I had all that stuff in line and down pat, and it wasn't like, oh, I wonder what I'd feel like if I just got good sleep, or I wonder what it would feel like if I just could string a month of good eating together and training. I actually don't think like that anymore. It's just, it's happening. And then what I've found is, like when you look at my blood markers have improved. So my hormones, my testosterone, generally speaking, across the board, everything has elevated. And it then comes with other growing issues as well, because there's always something to deal with that, depending on where you've come from and where you've transcended to, you're met with like new challenges to overcome, and that's been very real. But it's just nice to know now that those things for me aren't just simply health. Am I too dehydrated? Have I overworked? Have I gone too hard over the last few months and now I've burnt myself out? Could I be getting better sleep? I just don't have to second guess those things anymore. And so that's where it freed up space for me creatively. I've been able to lean into like a bit more of a spiritual journey alongside the building the business and raising a family and all those sorts of things. So everything has improved, along with performance in the gym, um, creating creating a business with Elise, homeschooling the kids. Everything has improved across the board because I feel like I really have nailed all my foundations now. And so yeah, it's just I just want to encourage people, if you are busy, that you'll potentially get way more out of your life, way more out of what you're doing and who you are as a person, if you do get in and do some resistance training and you build some muscle. Like it might be an aesthetic thing for you to start with. You might be like, well, I just want to feel good with my top off. I want to get to summer and take my kids down to the pool or take my kids to the beach and have my top off and just feel decent. And that's a very real thing for a lot of people, because when you're young, your body, like from my experience, your body can keep up with a lot that you do. Because I trashed my body in a lot of different ways when I was younger. But when I look back at photos, I wasn't that out of shape. And now, if I was to be living that way, it catches up, and it's so easy for to be holding a little bit more fat. For just even if it's not like an aesthetic thing, it can literally be like like how you feel cognitively, and are you lethargic, and do you even have the energy and the motivation? Like all of that stuff changes when when you figure out a good system that you can sustain for a long period of time. And for me, it's always just been like, get into the gym, eat properly, get good sleep, and and stay hydrated. And I feel like they're very underrated, or they're definitely fucking spoken about a lot. But I just feel like people would prefer to skip to things like supplements or 10-week challenges. Even get into peptides or enhancement drugs that will definitely get results, but hasn't been my path. I won't go into it. I won't talk into that, but I personally prefer to work on all the things that I'm talking about. And then I've found that all the things that, that gear even helps with, I've found that, like, I've made progress, maybe not as fast, maybe not, I'm not as big, or I don't have as much endurance or whatever, but it just feels good that I don't have to sit here and think about, well, if I take gear, then what do I have to do to offset the thing that I'm having more of? And like, there is a bit of that when it comes to functional health, for sure. Like, for example, if you want to start hydrating and you want to have, you want to cover electrolytes like potassium and sodium, then you don't just have more potassium, you don't just have more sodium. There is a balance to offset. Like, they work together. And so there are things that you got to think about when it comes to functional health and natural health, that it might be supplements as well, for sure. Like, I still take supplements, but it just doesn't seem like it's quite the same as when you go down that route. And so I think there's going to be a point where I dabble in that one day, for sure, down the track. I'm just not fussed about it now. So I'm open to it down the track, but it feels good to be doing anything from this solid foundation. And so that's where I'm at now with it. My dog is barking. He's really distracting me. So, as an example of what I think works for people who are super busy, who might work an 8 to 10 hour day, and they come home and then you've got a 2-3 hour wind down by the time you cook dinner, prepare for the next day, get the kids down to sleep, actually spend some quality time with them. There was a time where I was getting up at 4 o'clock to train, and there's some people out there that are capable of doing that, but everyone's different. And like, sometimes someone's being a bit of a pussy, and then sometimes someone is genuinely just, they don't have the capacity because of all the stuff I was talking about before. Like, you might have gut dysbiosis or an overgrowth in bacteria, right? That can literally cause you to have DOMS and build up lactic acid faster, and you feel sore and more lethargic compared to people who just don't have that bacterial imbalance that you have. And so I'm not someone to be like, just get up earlier and train. I'm also like, how can you do minimal and get the most out of what you're doing? And for me, that looks like 3 full body training sessions a week. That's it. They take an hour. If I'm efficient, I don't talk to everyone in the gym, but have a couple of minutes rest in between, so it's not that fatiguing. I just need to know that when I do a set, as long as I'm not doing 20 or 30 repetitions, if I can do between around 10 reps, then I need to push myself until I'm very close to failure. And then I just know that I've given my muscle the stimulus that it needs to go. And then you can do a couple of sets of that, and that is enough. Like, go in and do one full body session, even if you do it twice a week. If you allowed 1 hour and you were very crafty with your programming and you got your exercise sequence down pat and there's not too much overlap, you can make crazy transformation in over the course of, say, a year or whatever. It's not that's probably not suited to like a 10-week challenge transformation type thing. I just don't feel like people actually really care about that when it gets to this stage. Like a lot of people that I interact with now, based on what I'm doing, they just say, I actually just want to fucking get into the gym and train and eat healthy, and I just generally want to elevate how I feel. And it's usually going to come back to like their purpose being because they want to feel good at the beach with their top off, and they want to bend down and pick up their kids, and they want their kids to see them living a healthy life. And so that's what I'm saying is the best way to do it. Personally, I think if you can do some training in the gym a couple of times a week, if you can manage to eat decently 80% of the time, I haven't even tracked my steps in a very long time, but I'm always active and I'm always outside. I'm always doing things to use my hands or be at the beach with the kids or run around and having a play. And so that has personally been enough for me. However, I know that people can they can hold fat and lose fat very different ways, and someone might be eating way too much food, which is causing like them to hold on to fat in certain areas of their body. But then there can be someone who's highly stressed and they are actually, their body is using fat and storing fat in using a very different mechanism through spikes in cortisol or just this really low hum of stress throughout every single day. And so your body, whatever state you're in, your body's going to utilize the fuel that you're giving it every single day. And so you need to think like whatever's worked for me obviously is going to be very different for you. But at the same time, I feel like the long, slow burn, being consistent, doing bare minimum, as long as you can be consistent and sustain it for over the course of a year or so, that's my message. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm getting to get ready to get fit. I've let myself go. I was prime in my 20s and I just want to feel good in my 30s. And I think being in your 30s and looking after yourself, it's almost easier because of the way your muscle grows. And I don't know, maybe it's a mental thing, but if you can nail all these things, it's going to be a lot easier. Anyway, I went a little bit off track there. I think if you can just do the bare minimum, make sure it's sustainable, and not drop off, not think that, oh, that's what I was going to say. Sometimes people, and I've had this from a few people, they go, oh, I've just been wanting to get in shape before I engage in coaching with you, and like that's a funny thought. And that's almost like the mentality probably of people who, it's just like what happens online. It's like everyone's thinking that things happen in a certain sequence or in a certain period of time, and that hasn't been my experience. That's not, I've done it in the past where I've got fast results, but the long, slow burn has been the best way for me to do it. And anyway, I'm hopping around a bit here, but someone recently said, oh, it's funny because I've been waiting to jump on board with you, but I wanted to almost do like a preseason to make sure I was prepared. And that would probably mean that like, oh, I'm going to spend 6 to 10 weeks just getting in shape, and then I'll hit up a coach and I'll start working with a coach. And I would prefer that people have a different mentality of, hey, if you want to do this, like, let's just say you want to lose 5 kilos, you can lose 5 kilos in let's say 10 weeks. But there's also a healthier way to do it. There's also a more sustainable way to do it. There's some bigger picture thinking around the actual weight loss itself. And if you can allow 20 weeks to lose 5 kilos, then that's okay as well. And some people would prefer that, but there's just lots of different ways to look at it. And I would prefer like a mild approach rather than this like hard and fast thing. And obviously it depends on the person, depends on the season, but you can just do so much. You can get such great results with what I'm talking into here. And I think that would be my message. My message is, don't think that you have to do a 10-week transformation to get the results you want. Don't think you have to be prepared to actually work with a coach. You can do a couple of sessions a week and take care of all these other lifestyle factors. There's lots of free things that you can do to improve your health before you even think about reaching for things that are going to cost you a buttload or do these crazy ass protocols. Most of the time, if you do a big protocol like the ones I've done, most of the time, the person who's prescribing you a protocol like that, they're going to recommend you to do all these lifestyle things alongside it. It just doesn't make sense to not do it, because as soon as you stop taking the supplements, then it's likely that the issue that you had in the first place is going to come back. And so whatever you choose to do, the training, the sleep, the food, the stress management, the purpose and the goal setting and the fucking reasons why you're doing it in the first place, all those things everything's always going to work better if you've got those things, building alongside it and set in, you've got a really clear direction for all those things, and you're doing that alongside the other hardcore protocol stuff. Then, when you stop doing the protocols, or even if you never do a protocol, you're still going to be supporting yourself, and it's more than enough. It's more than enough to get in shape, to get healthy, and to make you feel better as a parent. If you're busy, you can do this, and I guess that's what the message is. You can make great progress even though you've got a lot going on. That is all. That is the 15-minute thought that come to me, and I'm going to aim to set up the camera in my office where I've got this chair, and I'm going to make a coffee, and I'm going to just talk into whatever comes to mind. And so when I sat there and thought about, what can I provide people value? How can I provide people value today? This is what came to mind. And so there might be 5 minutes, there might be 20 minutes, but this is the first of a few, and I'm excited to see where it takes me. It's a bit of it's a creative process. It's like something that I want to do to express just what is inside me. I find that when I sit down to, say, write an Instagram post or something, it's very easy for me to type, not even finish a sentence, and edit what I've said, and then I trip myself up, and it's like this. It almost becomes a little bit incoherent as opposed to just speaking. And like, it took me 15 minutes to pretty much say that you don't have to do a 10-week challenge to get crazy results, as long as you can be patient. Like, I can capture what I just said in maybe a few sentences, but it's fun for me to riff, because there's a lot in there that I didn't plan to say, but I've said. And so this is the start of a new method for me to share what I'm doing as a busy dad myself, as someone who has a lot on their plate but still prioritizes health. And this is me going to be providing value as much as I can, and giving lots of little insights. And whether it's parenting or training or food or whatever it is, this is going to be the format for now. So it'll be on YouTube, it'll probably be on Spotify, and then whatever happens from there, maybe go through to Instagram and get the little clips on there as well. So this is exciting. This was Elisa's idea, because like I said before, it's just the short form stuff. It's challenging for me. I trip myself up too much. I prepare and edit and try to perfect and make sure I'm not saying the wrong thing, where I've probably just said the wrong fucking thing 10 times in this short video. So it's nice for me just to be able to do it without overthinking it. I literally just spoke for 18 minutes straight without taking a breath. And I can imagine that's a lot of words, and I just simply could not type that on Instagram. So thank you, Elise, for the suggestion. And whoever's listening to this, thank you for listening. I hope you got something out of it. Please let me know your thoughts. And also, if you're in this stage of life, then if this is resonating, then this is what I'm helping people with. This is how I coach people. We work together for it. It is a 16-week block, and then it's ongoing. But these are all the things that I can personalize for you based on what your current goals are, what your current situation is, and then we stay in touch throughout the whole program, and that's how I help people, and that's how you can get results as well. If this is the way that feels right for you, then send me a message, and we can get you going on your journey. Okay, that's enough. Bye. Cheers.